So this one's going to be going up as a Tesla Tech Talk segment.
Oh, okay.
So even though, as I was letting them know earlier, it doesn't, like, we can deviate from technology, but a few of the initial questions I'm going to ask are about how you might be using technology in a business, right, that isn't necessarily, what is this? Okay. Air flag. That, you know, isn't necessarily a tech business, right?
Oh, I got you.
Which is always, I think a lot of people forget about some of that, right? They're like, oh, well, I'm not a tech business. And I'm like, yeah, but this day and age, 90% of the businesses out there are using tech of some sort, right?
Even if that's certain apps or different things to help automate things, all of that.
Exactly.
Still kind of works in.
All right, hey everybody, welcome to Tesla Tech Talks. We got Greg Kerr here with us. Thank you for joining us here in the Model X. And really looking forward to learn a little bit more about Miles to Go and your background and a little bit of how you're using technology. So to get started, would you mind maybe giving us just a 3 to 4 minute background on you, and then even what maybe brought you to the Phoenix area? I know you said you've been here for about 10 years, but...
Yeah, I started my first business when I was, I think, 20 years old. I was touring in a band and we were broke, and I needed a way to pay my bills, and I started making these belts, basically, for my own band. And it was whatever I sold that night, that was the money I got, and when I got home, I could pay my bills or do whatever. And over the years, became a full-time job for me when I was young in my first business, even after I left the band. And I was even making products for Dominos and bands like Fall Out Boy and brands like Johnny Cupcakes and things. And that, I was done school, running that business full-time, and I was in that spot in Philadelphia where I thought, if I don't leave now, I'm never going to leave.
Gotcha.
Just that sort of like, all right, what am I going to do? I came out to Phoenix and it was October. I just drained the tank on my bike, put it away. It was getting cold. I come out here, everybody's like running and out on their motorcycles and like having an awesome time. It was beautiful. I got home, I had 2 months left on my lease, and I looked it up, like how much it was to live here. I think it was 2007, and it was the same cost for a 4-bedroom townhouse as the crappy apartment I had above a business.
Big difference.
Yeah, so I thought, you know what, I have a way to pay my bills. My business goes where I go, so I'm just gonna do it while my family's back east. Worst case, I go back in a year with my tail between my legs, and I'm just back where I started. So, and being out here, I know just the community, and I found a local print shop and partnered up with them, and it kind of got the gears going. I wanted to do something more creative, and that's how Miles to Go started. I basically just wanted to put out some shirts. At the time, everything was just huge logos, and it was like walking billboards, and everything looked like a band shirt, and that just wasn't my style at all. So I just started putting out shirts that I liked. Like in the beginning, there were some like old religious art references and jazz stuff and kind of whatever, and people started responding to it, and I just kind of let it keep folding back onto itself because it was my passion project.
Definitely.
And so as that went, like my first time I ever thought maybe this could work, I went down to First Friday, I slapped down a table, and I made $300. And I thought, all right, for a couple hours, like that's not bad,
That's pretty good, yeah.
So I made some more designs, and then I also was really heavy reader, so some of the designs I was doing were based off of literature, and I started to notice that people were responding to those. And as something that I already was into, it was a natural resource. So I kind of started sprinkling in more book-related ones, and I noticed that the brand was starting to get a little bit of a following. And seeing repeat orders from customers, the customer retention was getting higher, a little bit more excitement in general. So I probably after the first 2 years of the business, I jumped into being all inspired by literature, and I haven't gone back from that. And you know, I started my first shirt I was printing, I think I made 15 of it, and this past year I did over 10,000 shirts.
Wow.
So it's grown, you know, a lot over the years, but for a long time I just let it do its own thing, and then at one point it started getting busy enough that it became its own full-time job, and the belts became my part-time thing, and I don't even do those anymore.
Oh, okay.
So Miles to Go is my full-time gig and has been for the past 7 years.
Very cool.
And I haven't had a normal person job in, I don't even know how long, since I was 15, 17 years or something like that. So
it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, just keep fighting. Even if I was living off of, you know, ramen noodles and barely paying rent, I still want to be doing my own thing.
Agreed.
And you have to sacrifice sometimes for that, you know?
Yeah, certainly. Very cool. Well, I appreciate that story. I'm curious, so I know one of the things you said, you know, the cost of living was a massive kind of differentiator, right? In addition to that, what's been one other thing in the Phoenix area that's kind of surprised you as as an entrepreneur or self-employed kind of business owner?
One of the things I actually really like about Phoenix is it just felt open and ready for things to happen. And where I grew up, there was a certain ceiling that you'd have to hit, or a certain way to get to that ceiling. And the thing I liked about the Phoenix area was I felt like you could do whatever you wanted to do.
Definitely.
And it kind of allowed that. Like, you didn't have to become a pseudo-celebrity kind of whatever. It kind of didn't matter. And when I would meet people, there seemed to be like, you know, less interest in having to be that you could just I could focus on my business, I could do what I want. The cheaper cost of living allowed me that freedom to kind of push it a little bit more and try some things out. And like I said, I did First Friday every single month for the first 2 years, and just being around everybody, and I've met a lot of great other local artists too. And it just seems more community-based here. And in Philadelphia, it seemed a lot more individual-based.
Okay, sounds good. So, being in the kind of clothing and apparel industry, I'm curious, what technologies do you utilize on a fairly regular basis? What technologies help you do everything from manage your business to push your business forward? Is there anything in particular you're using right now that has really helped out quite a bit?
Yeah, a lot of it really comes down to automating a lot of processes, especially I'm the only person in the business.
Okay.
So I'm doing everything, like I'm mailing things, I'm packing things up, I'm handling billing, I'm doing all that kind of stuff. And I use Shopify for my store system. Okay. And there's a lot of great apps and plugins and things like that that do the automatic emails, or even there's somebody checks out and there's Facebook Messenger attached to it. It automatically sends them a message saying, thanks for your order, let us know if you have questions. Things that would take a lot of time for me to do to everybody, or even having my email list being segmented into different groups of people. I can look at people that are on the email list that have never bought anything and do that. And, for me, and the store system is automatically doing that through the technology with the app and everything that's in there, where there's really no way for me on my own without that, that app to be able to do that. I would have no idea how to target those people. Or I can send out, like for Black Friday, I looked at the 10 people that spent the most amount of money over the last year, and that was segmented automatically for me. I hit them up and gave them a separate coupon, which was good.
Nice.
A couple days early.
I bet they really appreciate things like that.
Yeah,
nicer touch.
Yeah, and I recognize people's names. That some people that have been buying from me for almost 10 years, and the technology, those little kind of things like that, or even with just in the emails in general. Yeah, mostly the automation and using technology suites. Like I'm in Photoshop and Illustrator every single day.
Yeah.
And as that's changing and how much that helps me versus if I was dealing with just artists that were hand drawing everything always and I was having to convert it, like I'm always using design software every single day.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I know a few of my friends actually who will most likely watch this do some of their own kind of fashion businesses, jewelry businesses, things like that. So I know you mentioned Shopify. Are there any other tools like that that you can give a quick shout out for that at least have been helpful to you that they might want to go take a look at?
Well, most of them, like I said, will be kind of apps that are plug-in. Shopify and BigCommerce and all these big storefronts basically all have a selection of apps that you can check out. And some of them, there's things like I use one called AdRoll. And what that does, it's that targeting. Like if you went to my website and then you're on Huffington Post, my ad is there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, and for me back in the day when web banner ads were getting started, I would go to a certain site. Like I advertised on Chuck Palahniuk's website because I was a big fan of his writing, and I would pay X amount of money for a certain amount of views, whatever thing.
Right.
Now this with technology, the way that AdRoll works, I don't do anything. I create a couple ads, and it just kind of trails them in the back of their mind. You know, it's like, oh, maybe I should go back to this guy's website, or even cart abandonment emails. If somebody adds 2 shirts to their cart, they don't check out, they'll be on Facebook, and the ad it shows them is the 2 items that they had in their cart.
Yeah.
Saying like,
that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
I've
like,
seen that.
yeah, it's like, hey, you still want these? And
Yeah.
you know, it's little things like that because the problem isn't converting the people that have already bought from me to buy more because I know I make a high quality product.
Right.
And I have really high customer retention rate. The thing is to get the customers that came to the site and didn't buy anything to bring them in. And that's always the most challenging thing, is finding new customers and turning them into buyers.
Definitely. Okay. Very cool. Well, I think we're going to call it quits there for the moment, but I guess, is there one other kind of thought or idea or message you want to give a quick shout out for?
Yeah, I mean, in general, I would just say do it yourself, you know, like everything. I'm DIY all the way, and obviously, you know, using these technology suites, these things like help you do that so much. But if you're going to start a business, you know, most people do it on the side. They've got a full-time job. That's how you start, you know, and you're working a ton. Too bad. You know, that's what everybody does.
That's what it takes.
Yeah, and that's what it takes, because most people don't have the luxury to just say, I'm going to start a business. You know, most businesses aren't profitable for the first 2 years or so. That's the reality. And you gotta, if you really want to make it work, you have to put in the sacrifice and put in the time and just keep hammering at it and always stick to what your vision is. You know, like, it's good to get advice and things from people, but at the end of the day, what makes your brand or your product different is your specific view on it and your execution.
Couldn't agree more. Awesome, Greg. Well, really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, sir.
We are now going to jump into the kind of bonus section and let everybody open up in the back. So really quickly, what I'd love to do is just have each of you do your name and like company or kind of whatever you're working on as you ask a question, right? So maybe if you want to go first, first name, last name, and then question and go from there.
So I'm Stephen Stewart. I'm actually a graphic designer myself. Just started freelancing a couple months ago full time. So I'm on that entrepreneur side of myself. I kind of, having been really involved with the design community and pushing myself to be more involved in, you know, especially in Phoenix, and trying to get my name out there. I'm always trying to figure out, you know, what my peers, what all the other graphic designers in the community are doing, what kind of pushed them or drove them to be passionate about design. What kind of, I want to ask you, what kind of pushed you into getting into t-shirt design? Like, where did that all start?
It was just, I've always been involved with art and music and all that kind of stuff. And when I first was going to school, I was a jazz performance major, and somehow switched into the art department.
Okay.
You know, but you know, it's that same creative strain that runs through. You know,
Right.
and I've got that busy mind that is just like thinking of a million things a minute, and it's just, I don't know, there was just a need to create something.
Right.
You know, and I think for graphic designers, if you're starting to freelance, some of the stuff that you can do that will help your portfolio too is work on some personal branding kinds of things. Because at least for me, I hire, all of my art is hired out. Like every artist I use, I commission specifically for my brand based off of who I think is going to match the idea that I have. And the people that I'm hiring have the most cohesive look, where I know that I'm hiring this one specific artist. I know basically what I'm going to get.
Right.
And then they're going to apply their style to what I'm suggesting to them. And I definitely think doing things like that can help you and help inspire you to really see that thread through your design, which is going to make you stand out. Because especially with freelance, you know, what is going to make somebody hire you over a different designer? And even if it's for fun and you're not even making products or doing things like that as a secondary income stream, it still can definitely help you out with in general for the overall portfolio. But yeah, there's just that need. I need to create stuff every once in a while. Like if I go too long without putting out a new design, I start getting kind of antsy about it. Like I need to do something, and because at least with Miles to Go, I'm taking an entire book and trying to turn that into one image that encompasses it without slapping you over the head in a really obvious way. So for me, like, things just kind of hit randomly, but I'll sketch things out or write down lists and whatever I can kind of just to get the process going. And I know when I hire artists, if, you know, I'm hiring like because of their catalog work, and I'll approve things off of a 2-minute napkin sketch. You know, I say, just show me the composition, you know, so I can see. It could be circles and squares. You're saying this is the main element's going to be in this area. This is going to be the flow of it. Because that's the thing, is like, how is your eye going to move through whatever you're working on? If you're doing commercial work, how are you designing it to make sure that your eye follows where they want the message or the website or whatever they're going for in the advertisement is? And I think elements like that, the composition comes into so much play, like, is so important, I think.
You're good.
JP, why don't you take it away?
Definitely. So I'm JP. I'm the founder of Lucky. We create mobile apps. We're kind of looking to create just fun, unique experiences and really create something that shocks people out of their door. The apps we're building are Create Me, which is an app that's going to give you the freedom to create your own emojis.
Nice.
So yeah, that's one. And then we got another one we're coming out with in a couple of weeks called Hustle Emoji, which actually Stefan's been doing the designs for.
Nice.
Amazing, great dude to work with. Definitely highly recommend him. And that's really fun. So it's just kind of stickers that are kind of promoting entrepreneurship and getting out there and hustling. So they're fun. So my question is, again, along the lines of the technology aspect, is, you know, there's this big move right now, and this is kind of where I think it's going, right, is AR and VR. And I'm so kind of curious as to if you have any plans to use those in your business to grow sales or drive sales, maybe like using it for people like to kind of try on their clothing before they get to actually purchase it and see how like maybe it fits, or see if they like the way it looks on them or whatever. Just if you have any ideas for maybe how to utilize those types of technologies.
Yeah, I don't even know what is AR.
Augmented reality.
Yeah. Augmented reality.
Oh, augmented. Okay, yeah.
Reality.
I mean, I've seen some of those apps and too, even on like Shark Tank, you know, and they're like, oh, look, take a picture, you know, and we'll show you how things fit. For what I'm doing, you know, with t-shirts, I don't know if an app was created that made that really easy for me to do. I would definitely utilize that, because sizing is always an issue, you know. Even I'm using a stock brand of t-shirt like that some people may be familiar with, but they don't know when they go to my website, and even a polycon might fit different than a 100% cotton, you know, or things like that can be challenging. And if there was a way to do that was simple, I would definitely utilize it. I think a lot of customers would use it.
Yeah.
In terms of like like other virtual reality stuff, it's like I would love to anything that makes the brand more interactive in general. You know, even I thought about doing an app before and things like that for like a mouse to go app, and then I thought I don't even know what I'd put in there, you know, in a sense, but because it is about building like a certain community, and it is great if you could be one of those brands that has that edge of that, the fitting, the things like that people can check out, because anything, you know, when you're getting a customer into your site, you want to make it as easy for them as possible to buy something.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like without being too in your face, and any kind of tools that can be used that aid that process. Even something small, like I offer free shipping in the US. It's basically built into the cost. I'm at $28. It's basically $25 plus shipping. But if you add that to your cart at $28, you go to checkout, it's still $28.
Yeah,
There's no surprise.
No, exactly.
You know, so it's about the conversions, and if something like a fitting app even brought up my conversions 1% a month, that could be the difference of an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you think about it, if you could make an app or something like that that allows just more ease of use, you know, just make it easy for customers, I think it could definitely be extremely helpful and to small businesses too, because we all run into those problems. If I made tailored clothes or more menswear, or, you know, kinds of items, it would definitely, something like that would be like 100% needed, you know, and I definitely could see, I hope that becomes something that comes out at some point, that everybody, it just is like part of the process, you know.
Awesome. Good stuff. Paulina, were you able to formulate your question?
Yes. Yeah, that's fine. Hi, I'm Paulina. I'm the founders of Desert Canvas, events, festivals, and also the online goal development program, helping people, you know, discover their passions and really live fuller lives, create their own reality. And I guess I was really interested when you mentioned, you know, automation as being the, you know, biggest factor in how technology plays into your business and stuff like that. And to me, that really just frees up more time for you as an artist, as you mentioned. So like, has there been any areas you wanted to expand in within your artistry, like putting more message into the art that you create, or, you know, showing a little bit more about the culture that you're trying to create, and what is that, if so?
Yeah, I would, I mean, the culture, the building a brand in general is about the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anything that I can do, and I wish I was better at video stuff or had more time, you know, or things like that let people see to feel like they're part of the brand, because at least with what I do, it's very niche. You know, so I sell to a lot of bookstores, indie bookstores, because it makes sense. That's where the people that already might dig what I'm doing they're gonna be there. You know, and so, you know, like any kind of branding that could come in, I mean, it's definitely going to be helpful. In the automation, sometimes like sending out the automated emails and things like that, it doesn't have to be so cookie cutter. You know, all of mine that come out will say, like, it's instead of saying like thank you or sincerely for the past like 15 years, my sign off says dig Greg, miles to go. Little things, somebody's like, okay, this is a person, it's an automated email, but it sounds like something people know that I'm the brand. Like, they email I'm a real person.
Yeah,
you know,
just show your realness.
Right. So, and they take that on, and, you know, somebody emails me and asks or suggests something, I will look into it. You know, like, I might not have read the book, because there's so much that goes on for me to make a design. You know, it's like, if I haven't read the book, I have to try and read it or find an artist that loves it. You know. But yeah, altogether, I mean, it's just doing the events, doing the things, like cohesion across the board again, like I was saying with design and stuff, and the brand having a message that people can identify with, I think goes a long way, because, you know, we're all looking, all of us choose certain clothes for a certain reason, go to certain events, are part of certain clubs, whatever different things we do, go to certain parties, whatever. All of that is us identifying with whatever we feel like our personal kind of brand, or what we see somebody's buying, you know, Nikes versus Reeboks or whatever. I don't even know if Reebok's still around, but you know, that,
Yeah, the rebrand.
whatever, you know, you're going to associate yourself with, I think it's really important to get people in there, and as long as you're honest about it, I think that comes through and people see that.
Yeah. Well, I feel as though the automation brings up, it enables you to bring up that honesty, even if it's not in an email. They get to see your personality,
Right.
character.
And the people, like, my email list is incredibly valuable to me. Like, I try and take, so like the people that have bought from me that are on my email list, they only get emails from me if something new is coming out or there's a sale, and maybe that's once a month. But that's because, to me, I don't want to get hammered over the head with a ton of emails. And it's the people that haven't bought stuff that will get some of those more automated follow-ups to try and bring them in the loop. But once I have those people I really trust and value, that they've given me their money and their time and you know, helped out the brand so much. So I try and value that core group of people a ton when I'm doing my marketing, you know, so that it's not just a bunch of blanket emails that somebody that's been following me and buying things for 7 years is like, okay, seriously, like, I know you exist.
Yeah.
I don't need an email every week. You know, some major brands, that's the way they do things. They just hit you. It's like literally almost every other day, and you're like, okay,
Unsubscribe.
Yeah, I feel like they don't care. Yeah.
junk, unsubscribe, and it's just, you stop caring because you see it so much that it just, you know, turns into white noise. So I think it's really important to, like, look at those and do emails and hit up people when the time is right or when there's something actually important to say. Or if you're doing a community thing, I've done emails before where I was just in a weird rut and I couldn't think of some new designs. I was in one of those weird spots where, like, no new book was kind of calling my name. I literally sent out an email and put on Instagram or social media and said, like, everybody give me your suggestions. Like, what should I read? What should I check out? And people felt like a part of the brand, but they really were, you know? Like, I was honestly saying, like, let me hear your feedback. And then responding directly to that when they would email me back or commenting on social media directly when somebody says anything, just saying thanks, whatever that is. Like, the more things that we can do, and obviously they would understand that you're a small business or a local business, but the more things we can do to make people feel a part of it and not like they're just getting a blanket marketing hit to them, I think is really important. Like, I'd rather send less emails that were more targeted than hit everybody up and lose a bunch of customers. Because the retention, the long-term customers are extremely valuable.
You said you've had some that have been buying from you for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. I mean, some of them, some of the people knew me. There's a couple people, like I said, like 10 year. I know there's like 2 different people that have been 10 years, but they knew me from the band that I played in before too, a little bit, and then kind of
Carried over from a former art form.
And like knew about the belts and things like that. But even I have another company that I make enamel pins for people, for other brands and bands and things like that. And I had made belts for this band, Less Than Jake, like a long time ago, really long time ago. And 10, 12 years later, I just made pins for the owner, one of the guys in the band, for one of his companies. You know, it's like, it's weird. You start to notice the longer that you stick around, you start to notice the community becomes like so important. Because a lot of small businesses, unfortunately, they fail, or people lose interest, or those things happen. And I know within the independent clothing industry, there's like a small handful of us that have been around as long as me.
Yeah.
So, and we talk every once in a while. You know, it's like, we'll just call up and chat and talk about things, and neither one of us are each other's competition. Realistically, we all have totally different customer bases. We're all fighting the same fights. We're all at those same points. I mean, I'm in a spot now where with what I'm doing in sales, it's paying my bills, I'm really comfortable, things are fine, but I'm at that weird cusp where do I want to try and push it where it's going to involve employees, warehouse, things like that, and I can call on somebody, a friend who runs a clothing brand that's in the same fight with me, and who's been through that, and say, yeah, is it worth it?
Is that what I want to do with my lifestyle?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
how did this affect the brand overall? Because if, let's just say, if you do $300,000 in sales and you're on your own, you're making $100,000 salary, like pretty decent, you know. But to get to be a $500,000 brand or whatever it is, the things that are involved to get to that next step are totally different. And so being able to rely on other people within the community, and you'd be surprised too, even like if you're doing things with people locally and other small business owners and things like that, somebody that was a customer that has this vast wealth of knowledge they can kind of tap into, and people just sharing and you know, in general. Everything too, and I know I mentioned like with design, the podcast that I've been on a couple times called Adventures in Design, and it's daily and free on iTunes. It's all artists, like guys like us, every single day, and they talk about, it's interviews and talking about like how to create your own brand, do things like have your own store, make your own products, do things, but like everybody that's in the fight, you know, whether they own a design studio, they're a freelancer or whatever. And I would definitely suggest checking that out to just you know, because you start to hear all these other people that are in the same fight that we are, and I think that's like really comforting, you know, a little bit, because you know, it's like you look at these businesses and you think like, oh man, they're killing it, you know. Nobody's an overnight success. They're like 5 years in the making to become an overnight success, you know, or
2 to 5 years in that overnight success.
exactly. And you know, I think as long as you stay humbled and like talk to other people in the community, you know, you're going to build that those resources and that kind of infrastructure to call on people when you need advice or do whatever.
Good stuff. Love it. Love the wisdom that you imparted here.
Thanks. I mean, I don't know if it's actually good advice or not, but you know.
The funny thing is, at least from my point of view, and a lot of the people I've spoken to, right? You know, different pieces and different advice and thoughts will impact everybody differently, right? So somebody might watch it and listen to it and pick up on one thing that allows them to go make a difference in their business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, I've done a little bit of speaking here and there, and I'll still have people reach out to me on Twitter or Facebook and all this, and they just, you know, there was one in particular, I did like an hour-long talk, and this one guy contacted me afterwards about a very small segment that I did about the exponential returns of teamwork. If you have a team, and the longer your team's been working together, the greater impact you can have as a team over the long haul, versus if you need a team and you're switching out team members every like 2 years. That doesn't, I mean, that's good for some businesses, but not for all. And that was like the one thing that I had just touched on for maybe 3 minutes that he just was, he loved that part and really thanked me for it and everything. So you never know.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because yeah, everybody's doing however they're doing their own business, their own thing. They have their own way of going about it. But and I did too a lot. Like writing, I was doing blog posts for a while about stuff. Like I get a ton of emails. I did a post about selling to Urban Outfitters.
Okay.
Because as a small brand, you know, you're like, oh, that's, you know, I would love to be an Urban Outfitters. And the reality of it is, with what they offer you in terms of, like, let's say my wholesale price for a shirt is $12.50. They offered me $6.40.
Oof.
And I fought to get $7 for my test run. And after the test run went, I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in this. Like, it's not, at the end of it, I made like $300. You know, it wasn't worth my time. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get a lot of emails about that, and people are like, oh man, how could, well, usually they just want to know who my contact was there, but but yeah, just sharing things too, and other clothing brand designers too, to be like, you don't need to buy, just because you get a discount on buying 200 shirts of a design, like if you don't have the customer base, like don't waste your money. Because I think when you're starting a new business, we spend money on stuff we don't need a lot.
There's truth in that.
You know, we all have that waste.
no doubt.
We've all done
You gotta
that
figure
stupid
it out
shit.
afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like,
No.
yeah, even as like something came up
Some
recently,
software
like,
we're not using.
yeah, I needed to upgrade. My laptop was just wouldn't even run Illustrator anymore. It was like a 2012 MacBook, and I was looking, and I almost went and bought a new laptop, and instead I got smart, posted on Facebook, talked to some friends who are like more computer nerdy, and I swapped out the old hard drive for a flash drive and upgraded the RAM to 16 gigs, and now it runs faster than the computer I bought a year ago, and it cost me $250 to do.
Maybe I'll do that.
Little stuff, but like as a small business, we're like,
You gotta
Yeah.
find those like other ways to solve the problem.
right, you're like, shit, I need a new
Yeah.
computer, but really,
Open source.
I posted and asked other friends that might have a thing, and they were like, dude, you can make that faster than like an entry-level MacBook now for $200.
Yeah.
And I just like went on to crucial.com, ordered all this stuff, got it delivered, installed it myself, and I was like, okay, don't need a new computer.
Yeah.
You know, but like that's all things in our businesses. And do you need to print like 10,000 little flyers to hand out? Probably not. Do you need, you know, we all like waste so much money. And so I think like anything that helps people realize or double rethink things, I think helps a lot.
Ask if it's actually going to provide that extra
Right.
value for your business
Like-
versus.
When I started a ton of brands, everybody wanted to have custom branded packaging. And you're like, dude, you're doing 30 sales a month. Like, what the fuck do you need
Why
a
would you?
printed
Yeah.
poly mailer for? You know,
Yeah.
it's the little things. And it's like, oh, the big brands do that. It's like, well, you're not a big brand, you know? And it's like, I've been putting in a free bookmark with all my orders for almost as long as the brand's been around.
Nice.
Like, do something that's maybe cheap that goes in, you know, until you reach the point. Like now because I order like 10,000 at a time, I get printed mailers, but like I didn't do that for 8 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what, you don't need it. It's just a waste. So it just, yeah, be smart with all the stuff that you're doing. And yeah, you can do a lot of stuff on your own. Like, and with the help of technology and with the email lists and things like that. Like, most of them offer segmentation. You know, like I use Campaign Monitor, but like pretty much all of them have that. So you can automatically create a new list from the people that actually opened or clicked one of your links in your last email. And then you know if you've got something really special or whatever, you can hit up those people, or you know the people that didn't bother, and like you can try a different A/B testing on them or whatever and see what's actually producing results, you know? And like all that stuff is built in there, you know, and like isn't actually costing you more money. So I would just say be smart with how you spend your money, because once it's gone, it's
Word to the
gone.
wise, yeah.
I mean, just a lot of people buy shit they don't need. Like, I have that little tiny office back there, and the garage is full, and there's even like 5 tons of paper in there. Like, and I have over 20 4-foot by 2-foot by 6-foot shelves, all in there. And between my pins and the T-shirts, I'm doing just me and stuff in my house.
That's sick.
That's sweet.
What a story.
So it's like, do I need a warehouse? Not really. Well, it was nice to meet all you guys.
Yeah.
Feel free to, if you have a question about anything, or if I can kind of help with whatever, just shoot me an email.
Yeah, same here, man.
Like, so like honestly,
Shout.
yeah, shoot me emails afterwards.
Is the best email the one that I've been emailing you at?
Yeah, they all go to the same
Or
place.
They do, okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I can shoot everybody. I'll shoot
Yeah.
everybody the link and everything
Okay.
later too, so your details will be on
Cool.
there.
Yeah, it's just miles to go. Greg at Gmail is one of them.
Cool.
But, yeah, right on. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
awesome.
Thanks.
Greg,
I hope
thank
it
you.
turns out okay.